Morning once again, E-Dirt. Well, I just come back from a cracker of a weekend. It was the final round of the National Off-Road Championships, and Hollywood Hills, proudly brought to you by QCon EMD Racing, as well as Basefit, and from now, Rad Motos as well. Welcome Dave and all the boys from Rad. Thanks for joining in the party here. You can see the Hollywood Hills has got a strong future. I'm going to keep this thing rocking and rolling. Right, let's start things out with this weekend. It was a huge one. The Atlas Copco 450, which is part of the National Cross Country Championship for the cars, the Donaldson Series. As we know, the bikes and quads have been joining in with the party for 3 rounds on this year as a tester, tipping the toe in the water to find out if it's going to work. Well, it's worked. So much so that we got confirmation this weekend that next year's championship, that's the National Championship for off-roads, will be bikes, quads, and cars all rocking together once again. One big happy off-road family. It works, it's a great show, and it's a cool vibe as well. So we were out there in Western area this weekend for the Atlas Copco 450 for the cars and the 250 for the bikes. Gnarly terrain, crazy temperatures as well, into the high 30s. I promise you, I almost ran out of factor 50s. It was super hot. For the bikes and quads, everyone had arrived there trying to nail down the champions. The hard part about that was a lot of the categories were a little bit thin on the ground and have been a little bit thin on the ground the whole way through the season. So it was very cool to see buy-in from the manufacturers as well as the sponsors. And they pretty much went scouring and grabbed a couple of guys from different facets of motorsport racing and the industry itself as well. So filling the categories, you saw people like Daryl Curtis, the Miller Moore guys were there. Rian Niveling, the big man himself from KTM Marketing, he was swinging a leg, by the way. He qualified top 10, and I think he got a top 3 in his 250cc category. So fish carry, respect, brother. Honestly, he's one of those annoying guys, but super cool at the same time. Motocross, supermoto, superbikes, off-road, whatever you like. He's probably going to get a contract out of this for next year. But anyway, we did fill our boots. Oh, also Tristan Purden, one of the motocross guys, he blew people away. He definitely is going to be a double contract for next year going forward. So he was there to help out stablemates on the Yamaha squad. He also walked away with an incredibly good ride. And yeah, he's going to be putting some more ink on paper for next year. Not just motocross. Tristan, we'll see you out there on the rocks as well, bud. So we did have enough people in the lineup to make all our championships work. We'll start with the quads. It was big Johan Oosthuizen, the huge guy coming out of Middelburg and Van's racing division. He has been such a good character to watch develop over the last couple of years, and this year in particular. He came right at the roof, almost said the roof there. He came right at the desert, which essentially is the roof of Africa for off-road races. That's why I said roof. But he came good in the desert. Since then, he has been up there in the championship the whole way through, hadn't yet taken a national championship victory until this weekend. The big guy, onto the top of the podium, stood next to big swingers like Captain CrossFit himself there, Gideon Jacobs, finally got some good results out of his bikes. He's been switching between the quad on the KTM side and the Yamaha, tends to save the quad on the KTM side for the GXCCs, and then the big dog, the 700cc Raptor for the Nationals. It's been absolutely cursed with a lot of mechanicals, came right, got a second place. Third place on the steps, also a couple of mechanicals and issues out there on the terrain. The huge guy, and he has been a massive backer of the sport as well as a supporter of Hollywood Hills since the beginning. And it's big Russman Ferreira. He walked away with a third place. He didn't think he was going to make it onto the podium, but he got a third place riding out of the Diamond Trailer squad. Not on the podium, but I spoke to him behind the scenes in the weeks building up to the event. One of our sponsors, EMD Racing's Hannes Simon, the man famously has not won a national championship. Until now. Number 1 plate, EMD, finally got the job done, and he can actually have a solid CV now because he's won a stage of the Dakar. He's won Northern Regions Championship. He's won club championships. He's won pretty much everything going out there except a national championship. Hannes Simon, your quad national championship winner, finally gets the number 1 plate. Very well done to him. What we did see out there on the terrain for the quads, though, it was a bike smasher. Not a bike eater, a bike smasher. So the A-arms, the wheels, the tires. Little Keenan Hammond had his issues out there. We expected him to maybe be a troubler for the podium. He unfortunately had some early race problems. That was that. But that was it. We managed to wrap up our quad championship. Hannes Simon, your new national champion. Onto the two-wheel side of things. This was a huge one. Pretty much, again, as we saw with Johan Oosthuizen, the desert was the decider for the season. We knew it would be, and it delivered. Coming into the closing race of the year, 3 points separated the brother leader tread KTM rider, the man who is a motocross crossover from a few seasons back. He's always going to be tagged like that, but he has become a fully fledged off-road rider, and now he is the man to beat. Ross Branch, your OR1 Open Class and overall champion. But it came down to the wire as well, because coming into the final round, there was only 3 points between himself and the Cargo Racing Husqvarna Pro of King Kenny Gilbert, the man who currently, or up until this weekend should I say, had the #1 plate on his bike. Those two have been duking it out the whole way through. Pentecost at the beginning of the season was the man to beat, but the desert was his undoing. So the proudly Bidvest Yamaha rider could do nothing more than go out and win the final race of the season, which is duly what he did. He was untouchable. He put 3 seconds into the guys in the time trials, and then on lap 1 and lap 2, they just couldn't come close to him. Ross Branch, I think, was holding something back and trying to stay out of trouble. He did a good job. He finally gets his #1 plate. He then joins Lo Schmidt, who backs up a #1 plate. He defends his #1 championship coming out of last year's OR2. He's the title holder once again, even though he had a huge crash and pretty much had to limp it home. He still got the job done, as did Bolly van Rooyen, once again, your 2-time repeat senior champion. So the brother Leadershred boys walked away with 3 national titles. They've done real well. On the Yamaha side of things, it looked like this year it was going to be Brett Swanepoel going after, once again, in the OR3s. Last year it was Jerry Coetzee that he was duking it out with, and there was a big war on the 200cc side of things. That's the OR3s. Again, the desert was his undoing. He had some major problems there, and there was no coming back from it, because the desert is a double header. You lose 2 days, you lose 2 rounds, you lose a pile of points in the championship. That left it wide open for the desert winner, D'Artagnan Lobjoy, Botswana native. Suddenly, all of a sudden, the maths was looking like it was going his way. Bottom line is, he didn't win this weekend, but he did a good enough job to walk away with the title. So great to see 2 new title holders, 2 new #1 plates coming out of the 2016 season. It's been absolutely crazy. In the Masters, Wayne Farmer as well, the Doorzone Biker Warehouse Husqvarna rider. He has been rock solid, super consistent, staying on the smoker the whole way through the year. He also took a huge digger this weekend. You know, he's got no skin on his elbows, both sides. His right knee looks like both of his knees put together and his waist. He's in a bad way, but he still made it home, got the job finished. I think he's carrying a couple of broken ribs as well. Again, didn't take the win. Good enough, though, to come home and take the title in the Masters Off-Road Championship. So well done to Wayne Farmer. He fought hard for that one. This was a real hard race to wrap up the titles with, because it was so dry, very, very technical, very hard, and some of those rocks just caught the guys out. It was very, very hard racing the whole way through. The rest of the categories, the 125s and the high schools, the guys were super busy the whole way through. It looked like it was Stefan van Deventer who walked away with the big win in the high school category. And then the 125s, looks like the Glock and Palser and guys like that were just all over each other, keeping it nice and busy. It was a shame to see such small numbers at the final round, but as we know with final rounds and the current social, economic climate, we know it's hard to keep tracking. And again, I know I've been on my soapbox the whole way through the year on Hollywood Hills about this. A little bit too many events, too much money to get spent, and it's going to be a hard decision forward into 2017 for all the racers to decide which events to focus on. For my opinion, obviously, the national off-roads and enduros have to come top of the pile. After that, the regional events like the GXCCs, they've got to be up there as well. Everything else has got to fit around. There's plenty of years. We've got 52 weekends in the year. Realistically, that narrows it down to 48 racing weekends on the year. And there's plenty of events, plenty of time. And the guys are just going to have to box a little bit clever. Hopefully, we can nail down all of those date clashes we had this year in the early part of next year when the MSA calendar gets released and everything else fits in around that. Okay, so that wraps up our national off-roads. Next week, we're going to be going forward into the final round of the EWXCs, which pretty much takes us 2 weeks until everyone loads up the buckies, the vans, the trailers, and heads on up to the roof. So that means next week we'll be reviewing the final round of the EWXCs, as well as throwing forward to roof in the big build-up and the close down to Christmas. What we're going to talk about now is our sponsors have come on board. The whole idea they've come on board is because we're able to offer them an outlet for their specials. So the guys at EMD Racing, Hannes and Ati Simon, they've got a ton of specials going on there. They've got specials on wheels. They've got a ton of tires in, Everyone's going to be talking about tires and mooses going forward into the roof. There is everything to play for. So this is pretty much aimed at the guys that are wrapped up with all their riding, but also the guys that are going to go forward either to the roof or they're going to want to have some fun rides during the Christmas close down. So check out the guys at EMD. They've got a ton of specials. We're going to be heading up there in the next couple of weeks to have a walkthrough. Ati and Hannes, they said they have got so much stock, they're going to be doing blowout specials the whole way through Christmas as well as January. So they do specialize in the quad side of things, but they've got so much for the motorbike and the adventure guys as well. They're running some specials, as you can see, that we're running here on Hollywood Hills. So go up and check those guys up. They're up in Centurion. On the Rad Moto side of things, as you can see, we just had Halloween this weekend, and the guys have been running some Halloween specials. That's running all the way through until the 5th of November. Almost lost where I was there for a second. So you can see they've got boots, they've got kit, goggles, absolutely everything you need to kit yourself up. It's Halloween specials over at Rad Motos, but it's also like a throw forward to get some stocking fillers going forward into Christmas. So check those guys out. They've got a ton of specials. They're just down the bottom end of Rivonia Road, and they will help you out. Dave Griffey, all the boys down there, they've got a ton of stock. They've got a load of the brand new 2017 KTM apparel, but also a ton of blowout KTM apparel from the 2016 range of kit. What they also have is a moose special. Everyone's been banging on about soft tires and soft moose. The guys from Super Moose finally got their super soft stuff in, and they're running a massive special alongside the guys at Rad. They're also going to be going up with Rad, and they're going to be doing moose changes up there at the Roof of Africa. It's one of the first times we've actually seen a moose supplier go up and support the Roof of Africa as an event, and it does mean those guys are going to have bleeding knuckles when they're up there. Chat to them, Nick and Nico, they're going to be up there spinning all the spanners, but right now, get down to Rad. They've got the super soft Super Moose, and those guys will hook you up. Put that together with some super soft rubber, and well, if you smoke your tires in one day, it don't matter. It's the roof. Put a new set on. This is the lastminute.com. Spend that lastminute.com budget and get a good run going at the roof. For me, here at Hollywood Hills, we're going to sign off with that one. Next week, we'll be reviewing the EWXC, the final round. That's going to be coming from Heidelberg, and it's going to be a scorching hot one. I know it's going to be an absolute banger. I'm going to have to stock up on my Factor 1000 once again. But after that, we'll review the EWXC final round, and we'll go up. We're going to have some interviews happening at Rad Motos as well as at Basefit alongside with EMD. But right now, best of luck to the guys that are getting themselves ready for the EWXC on the build up to roof. Keep training, keep the hammer down. You've got about 3 more weeks to get yourself dialed, get your bike styled, get your kit looking factory fresh. We'll see you out on the trails, and we'll be back with you guys next week. Have a coffee on me. We'll see you later.